Michael. You ready? Okay, we'll reconvene, and we'll now go to Community Economic Development, which is chaired by Michael Lillquist.
Thanks, Gene, and good afternoon, everyone. Community and Economic Development Committee today consists of myself and Council members Roxanne Murphy and Pinky Vargas. We have one item before us today, and that is a presentation by the Small Business Development Center. The City of Bellingham and Whatcom County and the Port of Bellingham have entered into an interlocal cooperation agreement to coordinate our approach to funding economic development in general. And included in that is Western Washington University's own Small Business Development Center. SBDC's Interim Director, Ms. C.J. Seitz, is here with us today to present a report on their 2014 activities. Ms. Seitz?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to share about the SBDC and our 2014 outcomes. My name is C.J. Seitz, and I'm the Interim Director. I was previously with the center from 2005 as a graduate student and then as a certified business advisor until 2009. And during that time, I developed a profound respect for the work that comes out of the center and just a passion for helping businesses. So when the opportunity came to have an interim position, I was thrilled to be able to be back. With me here today is Debra Lee and Eric Grimstead, the certified business advisors. Haley Halverson is back there. She's our program assistant. And Haley's job is especially important. She triages all the phone calls that come into our center and gets them to the right place. She also helps us with all of our data collection and reporting, and we really appreciate her work. I think it's also important to acknowledge that this work was under the leadership of Jennifer Shelton, who was a director for 5 years and did some pretty amazing work. So before we get started, I wanted to show you the real face of the SBDC, which is our clients. We have a local business here that's one of hundreds that we have helped. In the short video, woo, there it goes. Thank you.
I'm guessing 2008. Yeah, I've been in the business for a couple years. We had a couple good years, and things started to level out. I'm going, man, where am I going with this? What am I going to do? And I just needed someone else to kind of say, hey, actually, it's on the right track. You're doing all right. Just stay the course. And more recently, we're in need of a kind of SBA loan, having a tough time getting that lined up. Connected us with the bank and kind of helped us get through that process to get the SBA loan. So, both from a kind of strategic consulting, kind of business analysis side, and with the tangible things of helping us line up financing, it's been a valuable resource. We're here at our shop in Bellingham. From here, we basically run our whole business. We do all the administration, sales, marketing, product development here, plus we handle all the accessories and components for our boats. So those all come in here. If they require assembly, they get assembled. Then we ship them out to our factory, and all the accessories for our boats go to the stores that sell our boats. A couple things that most businesses got to gain is, one, just someone that has a lot of experience. People that have Small Business Development Center, have the experience, have been through, have seen, a lot of things firsthand for themselves they've been involved in, but also talking to a lot of other companies. So they kind of have just a real broad perspective, and that's really valuable. And then also on the other side is kind of the connections and resources they have to offer. For us, one of the big things is lining up financing, a lot of industry reports or analysis, and there's a lot of international stuff they do. So it's just good resources there for a lot of different situations. For a business owner, if you're thinking, man, should I do it? You probably should just go do it, because you have nothing to lose, and most likely there's a lot to gain.
The SBDC is a cooperative effort. It's a 35-year-old federal program that's governed by the Small Business Administration, and that's coordinated by a lead office. In Washington State, that lead office is Washington State University in Spokane. We also have a host institution, which is Western Washington University, and we're housed in the University Relations Department, which is headed by Vice President Steve Swan. The collaboration really comes together on a local level when you take higher education and local government and the federal funds to assist local businesses. And of course, we're funded by Whatcom County and the Port of Bellingham and the City of Bellingham. Thank you. Our mission is to improve profitability and thereby stimulate economic growth. Our efforts stabilize and grow businesses. We help them get started viably. We help them make good decisions. We help keep them in Bellingham. And this is done with one-on-one, in-depth, confidential business counseling, technical assistance, and business research. All of the SBDC advisors are required to have business ownership and leadership experience. Additionally, most have MBAs, and all advisors are required to go through a certification process. The certification process is governed by a state board, and in Washington State, it's looked to as a national best practice. Not only is the talent of the counselors here locally available to the businesses in Bellingham, but also is a whole statewide network. We have 23 SBDC centers in Washington State and 34 advisors. And we're extremely collaborative. We work together on a daily basis. We share research. We're on listservs together. We even co-counsel, so travel and do Skype to co-counsel. Some of the expertise in this group is, for instance, a capital leasing expert. We have a certified public accountant. We have several of our business advisors are former Fortune 500 leaders. We have to follow strict program standards. We must adhere to conflict of interest policies and confidentiality policies. And a new standard since I've returned to the SBDC is that all the impacts that we report federally have to be verified by our clients that we were instrumental in making those impacts happen. The National SBDC oversees our statewide policies and procedures, and we have to go through an accreditation process every 4 years. Every office in Washington State is actually visited by the SBA every 2 years and undergoes an audit. In Washington State, we have an independent annual survey that's done by Mississippi State University, and Dr. Chrisman does the survey, and he does it to record business satisfaction, stabilization, and to verify the impacts that we're reporting. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about those outcomes. And we use the federal definition of a small business, which is up to 500 employees and up to our construction companies up to $27.5 million in sales. And so in Bellingham, this means that 96% of the businesses can avail themselves of our services. Some of the assistance we have is a financial review and planning, including loan packaging and sources of capital. We do business valuations, operational analysis. We do technology reviews, international trade planning, human resource assistance. For instance, the company you saw in the video used us to help them apply for a loan and to do some market studies, and they continue to work with us just to bounce off ideas and have someone there to support them. SBDCs have strong research capabilities. Available to advisors is a national site which contains industry reports. It acts as a repository of all the research that's done nationally. At our lead office in Spokane, we have a team of MBA students that researches specifically just for SBDC clients. And best of all, we have an in-house researcher that's a second-year MBA student. And that is what's really great is that the student gets to sit and hear what the client's needs are and tailor that research just for the client, and also enables that student to learn and directly connects Western Washington University's resources right with our business community. For example, our current researcher, April, is working on a study for a business somebody who wants to buy an established business in Bellingham. And the question is, can I service the debt? And so what we did is look at a market saturation. How many of these types of businesses can Bellingham handle? What are the demographics? And then we looked at their financial data and benchmarked it, and were able to convey the information and then let people make their own decisions. In 2014, this information is just for Bellingham. So in 2014, we saw 613 distinct businesses or entrepreneurs. We work really hard to try and track all of the inquiries that come into our office. And we use this information to identify trends and to keep in touch with businesses that have some needs. So 279 of those inquiries actually became our clients. And we did over 1,800 hours in counseling and nearly 600 hours of research. We provided 30 trainings. The blue line is 2012, and you'll notice on the top that there was a lot of support hours in 2012. And that's from, there was a business in downtown Bellingham that needed some extensive help with their point-of-sale system. And we used a student team at the university to work directly with them to get that point-of-sale system in. In 2013, we saw two major trends. That was a spike in our startup and our buy-sell, and then an effort and a push in the rural communities. And in 2014, you'll see that we have a lot of hours dedicated to Bellingham clients, and here's why. We categorize our clients into three categories. The first one's expansion, so businesses that are growing. Retention, these are businesses that are either struggling to meet their sales goals or in some sort of transition. And our startup category. And that startup category is where we do our buy-sell too. So we work on either side. So we represent a buyer and we represent a seller, and we can actually represent both sides with different counselors. And so we've had a lot of that activity. We had a significant increase in startup clients in 2012, and that trend continued in 2014. This is a trend that we saw nationally. We helped, our whole program helped 17 businesses start successfully. 15 of those successful startups were in the city of Bellingham. Others of the clients went through feasibility studies to determine whether this is a viable business, and some of them chose not to go into business. And we're still working with others to really build up a solid, bankable business plan. Beyond startup and acquisition, our clients' top needs remained relatively the same from 2013. We worked on sales and marketing, finding sources of capital, which is including a lot more crowdfunding, financial analysis and cost control, and human resource coaching. 4% of those incoming calls that we track were for inbound businesses, so businesses that are established that want to relocate into Whatcom County. And as you know, the port serves as our ADO, and they take the lead on attraction services. And so I got to see how this worked last month. We had a technology company walk into the SBDC, and they're an established company, and they wanted to relocate to Bellingham. So of course that's a phone call immediately to John Mitchner from me. And we arranged a meeting with the client, and I'm helping with financial projections. John's helping with real estate, and he's also is getting the workforce development community integrated with this client. And so it's really cool to see how this is working well in our community. So how do we know that all this work is successful? We, again, ask our clients to verify our impacts, and we have about a 50% response rate of what we think that, from our clients from those efforts. So in Bellingham, we saw a sales increase of $1.7 million, capital formation, so this is either loans or equity infused into the company, of $2.7 million, jobs created or retained at 89, And from all of our Bellingham clients, they represent just over 1,900 jobs in Bellingham. I mentioned the Chrisman Survey earlier. This is the independent survey, and this is what Dr. Chrisman found for 2013. SBDC clients enjoyed a 10.5% sales growth in 2013, while all of Washington businesses enjoyed a 5% growth. And change in employment for SBDC was 16.6% versus 2.2% for Washington state businesses. So we know that this work is really working. And finally, for return on investment, for every dollar that the City of Bellingham invested in this program, there's a return of investment of $50 for our capital formation. And in closing, if I could just offer an observation. When I left in 2009 and then coming back, the economic development community is really different. They're working really well together. They seem to know each other's programs really well, and they're very collaborative. The environment from 2009 to 2015 is a pleasant change, and it's really wonderful to come back to where you guys are. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, CJ. Committee members? Roxanne.
I just really want to thank you for the work that you do, because this really creates better vitality, and we need our business community to understand that there are resources there. We're not there to tell anybody what to do, but to really help foster better economics for everyone. In a prior life, I learned that there are services available for women and minority-owned business startups, and I am still constantly talked to by women and minorities about this kind of thing. I've referred people to your services. I hope that's something that's available still.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there is, as I'm sure you know, through the Small Business Administration, a women's business center, and they do service this area. So we connect women into those services too, but we offer all the same services that they do.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Run real quick.
Gee,
Thank
yeah.
you very much for the report. Why is the word interim by your name?
So I'm in a 6-month appointment until the middle of the summer, because Western Washington University is required to do an extensive search, which they will be doing this spring.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? CJ, thank you very much. That concludes the committee.